Okay. Hello students. So welcome to my YouTube channel again. So this will be my third video for vectors. Okay. So let's start vectors 3. Okay. So in vectors 3, basically I'll be covering the topics regarding the cross product of vectors and linear combination. Okay. So first of all, we start with the topic of linear combination. Okay. So what do you understand by linear combination? So basically, any vector R, we can say, can be expressed or can be represented as a linear combination of some vectors a1, a2, a3 up till an, if we can write them in this form: m1 a1 plus m2 into a2 vector plus m3 into a3 vector, okay, up till mn into an vector. Okay. So अगर किसी भी वेक्टर को any vector which is r, any random vector, if it can be expressed in this form, okay, in this form where a1, a2, a3, an are some vectors, and m1, m2, m1, m2, m3, all these are some scalars. Okay, all these are some scalars. So if r vector can be expressed in this form where m1, m2, m3 are mn are scalars and a1, a2, a3 and an are all vectors, then we can say that r can is a linear combination of these vectors. Okay, then we say that r is a linear combination of these vectors, right? Then there come two other topics: linearly dependent and linearly independent. Okay. So first of all, linearly independent. Linearly independent. Okay. If we have, suppose this expression m1 into a1 vector plus m2 into a2 vector, okay, like this, mn into an vector, okay. So this is equal to 0. Okay. This is equal to 0 implies that m1 equal to m2 equal to m3, okay, equal to mn, all are 0. Okay, we are given this expression m1 into a1 vector plus m2 into a2 vector up till mn into an vector. If this is equal to a null vector or 0 vector, then if this implies m1 equal to m2 equal to m3 up till mn equal to 0, means if this implies that all the scalars have to be 0 compulsorily, okay, if this implies that all the scalars have to be 0 compulsorily, then we say that this is this expression is linearly independent. Okay, this expression is linearly independent. Okay, and the third case in this is of linearly dependent. Okay, the third case in this is of linearly dependent. Okay, so for linearly dependent, we have m1 into a1 vector plus m2 into a2 vector, okay, up till mn into an vector. This is a 0 vector or null vector, but this does not imply that all the scalars have to be compulsorily 0. Okay, all scalars are not 0 simultaneously. Are you getting my point? All scalars are not 0 simultaneously. इसमें जो मैंने स्केलर्स की बात करी, मतलब जो वेक्टर्स के कोफिशिएंट्स हैं उनको मैं स्केलर्स बोल रहा हूँ, बिकॉज उस पर वेक्टर सिंबल नहीं है. तो m1, m2, m3 से लेकर mn तक, okay, all these coefficients which I am calling scalars m1, m2, m3 up till mn, they are not all 0 simultaneously. Means some of them can be 0, but all will not be 0 simultaneously. Still this expression is equal to 0 vector. Still this expression is equal to 0 vector or null vector. This means that this vector we can say is linearly dependent. Okay, this vector, if I am saying this is r vector, then I can say that this vector R is linearly dependent on vectors a1, a2, a3 up till an. Okay, if this condition holds true. Okay, I'll repeat it. We are given this expression m1 into a1 vector plus m2 into a2 vector up till mn into an vector is 0. Okay, this is given to you, but this does not imply that all scalars are 0 simultaneously, which means some of the scalars can be 0, but all scalars are not 0 simultaneously. If this condition holds true, then we say that R is linearly dependent on these vectors a1 vector, a2 vector, a3 vector up till an vector. Okay, so this was the concept of linearly dependent. Okay, and we studied three things in this. First was linear combination, then linear independence, or how do we say it is linearly independent, and then linearly dependent. Okay, so these three things we studied here. Now we proceed ahead. Okay, if suppose we have three vectors, a vector is a1 I cap plus a2 j cap plus a3 k cap. Okay, b vector is b1 I cap plus b2 j cap plus b3 k cap. Okay, and c vector is c1 I cap plus c2 j cap plus c3 k cap. Okay, so we have these three vectors, and we know we are given that these three vectors are coplanar. Okay, we are given that a vector, b vector and c vector are coplanar. Okay, so what does coplanar mean? Coplanar means that all these three vectors, they lie in a common plane. Okay, like this is the plane of the board, so all these three vectors, they lie in this plane. Okay, so they are coplanar, a vector, b vector and c vector. So if this condition holds true, then we can form a determinant like this: a1, a2, a3. Then in the second row we will have b1, b2, b3, and in the third row we will have c1, c2, c3. So the determinant formed by these coefficients of these three vectors, okay, a1, a2, a3 will be from a, b1, b2, b3 will be from b, and c1, c2, c3 will be from c. So we'll get a 3 cross 3 determinant, and the value of the determinant will always be 0, but only if this condition holds true, means these three vectors, a vector, b vector and c vector, must be coplanar. Okay, so how do we prove this? For proving this, we can say that if these three vectors are given to be coplanar to us, then I can write one of the vectors as a linear combination of the other two vectors, correct? So I can write lambda a vector plus mu into b vector, right? If these three vectors are coplanar, then I can write any one of the vectors. Say I am taking the c vector as a linear combination of the other two vectors, which is vector a and vector b. So c vector we replace as c1 I cap plus c2 j cap plus c3 k cap is equal to lambda times a vector. I can write as a1 I cap plus a2 j cap plus a3 k cap plus mu times b vector. B vector we can write as b1 I cap plus b2 j cap plus b3 k cap. Okay, so now if we compare the coefficients, we have the coefficient of I cap as c1, and we have the coefficient here lambda a1 plus mu into b1. Okay, similarly we have the coefficient of j cap as c2, and here we will have lambda into a2 plus mu into b2, and we have the coefficient of k cap as c3, and here we will write lambda into a3 plus mu into b3. Okay, so like this if we write, then if we form a determinant, we can see that this is a system of linear equations in which lambda and mu are some constants. Okay, so if I write this a1, a2, a3, b1, b2, b3, and the third row comprises of c1, c2 and c3. Okay, third row comprises of c1, c2 and c3. So in place of c1 I can write as lambda a1 plus mu b1. In place of c2 I can write as lambda a2 plus mu b2, and in place of c3 I can write this lambda a3 plus mu b3. Okay, so if I write like this, then using the properties of determinants we can show that this determinant comes out to be 0. Okay, still I have not taught you this topic regarding the determinants in matrices, so you will not be aware of the properties for now, but for now you can just keep in mind that there are some properties by which we can prove this to be 0. Okay, and when we'll study later on, when we study this topic, then I'll explain you in detail. Okay, so this you can remember as a result. When you have three vectors a, b and c as coplanar, means they are lying in the same plane, then the determinant found by their coefficients, means their I cap, j cap and k cap coefficients. We have a 3 cross 3 determinant. That value of determinant comes out to be 0. Okay, so I hope this is clear for you. Okay, now we proceed ahead and we come to the products. Okay, I told you about the dot product in the second video. Okay, so I hope you're still like you still remember that thing. Still I'm taking a short revision. Okay, whenever we are taking a dot product, means we take two products and we take two vectors and put a dot between them. Okay, it is also called as scalar product because the result of this product is a scalar quantity. Okay, the result of this product is a scalar quantity. And how do I write that? A dot b is equal to a into b into cos theta. Okay, where we have this vector a vector and this vector is b vector, and angle theta is lying between these two vectors. Okay, so whenever we do dot product, we multiply the magnitude of a, we multiply the magnitude of b, and we take the cos of theta, where theta is the angle which is between the two vectors. Okay, now this complete thing is a scalar quantity. This complete thing is a scalar quantity. That is why we also call this product as scalar product. Okay, that is why we also call this product as scalar product. Okay, now there are some applications like how do you calculate the angle if suppose two vectors are given to you. Okay, so suppose two vectors are given to you, a vector as a1 I cap plus a2 j cap plus a3 k cap, and b vector is also given to you as b1 I cap plus b2 j cap plus b3 k cap. Okay, so now if you apply this formula, we get cos theta. How we will get cos theta? Cos theta we can write as a dot b divided by a into b. Right, cos theta we can write as a dot b divided by a into b. So now if you take this dot product of these two vectors, we'll just multiply the same coefficients. Like coefficient of I cap is a1 here, coefficient of I cap is b1. So you multiply a1 b1 because I dot j will be 0 and I dot k will be 0. I cap, j cap and k cap, all three of them are mutually perpendicular unit vectors. So we only take the product of the similar coefficients. Like we take the product of I cap coefficient, then we take the product of j cap coefficient, we take the product of k cap coefficients. So in the numerator you will get a1 into b1 plus a2 into b2 plus a3 into b3 divided by a into b. What is a? A is the magnitude of vector a. Okay, so how do you write the magnitude of vector a? Root of a1 square plus a2 square plus a3 square into root of b1 square plus b2 square plus b3 square. Okay, so cos theta we can write as a dot b divided by ab, where a dot b, what will a dot b become? A dot b will be equal to, sorry for interruption, a dot b will be equal to a1 b1 plus a2 b2 plus a3 b3, because when we are taking dot product we take the product of the same coefficients, right? And then divided by a into b. A you can write by using this formula, root of a1 square plus a2 square plus a3 square, and b will be the magnitude of vector b. Okay, so b will be root of b1 square plus b2 square plus b3 square. Okay, so this is how we get the, we can like calculate the value of theta when we are given two products. Okay, using dot product, right? So this was regarding dot product. Now if we come to the second type of product, which also plays an important role while we are studying vectors, and that product is called as vector product. Okay, that product is called as vector product. Vector product. Okay, so if suppose vector product we put a cross, vector product also called as cross product because we are using cross in the representation. Okay, we are using cross in the representation, so it is also called as cross product. So what do we get for cross product? A cross b means we multiply the magnitude of a and b, and in place of cos theta now we will take sin theta, and we also put a unit vector n cap, because the result in this case is a vector quantity. Okay, the result in this case is a vector quantity. That is why we also call it as vector product, right? In dot product the result is a scalar quantity, in vector product the result is a vector quantity. Okay, Now how do we get the this vector n cap? Okay, so this is what I am trying to explain you. Suppose this vector is a vector and this vector is b vector. Now when I want to find the cross product of a cross b, so there is a rule here. You take your right hand and what you do, you curl your fingers from the first vector to the second vector, right? So I'm using the cross product here. So what I will do, the first vector is a vector here. Okay, the first vector is a vector. So first of all you have to keep in mind that we have to use only the right hand. So if we take the right hand, put my fingers alongside the first vector, which is a vector, and curl my fingers towards the second vector, which is the b vector. So I curl my fingers from a vector to b vector. So the direction of the thumb will give me the direction of n cap. Okay, so basically the cross product will point towards outside of this plane here. Okay, cross product will point outside of this plane here, and the magnitude of the result will be product of the magnitudes of the two vectors and then sine of theta, where theta is the angle between these two vectors, right? Sine of theta, where theta is the angle between these two vectors. Okay, suppose in this case I want to find b cross a. If I want to find b cross a, so b will come here, a will come here, and sine theta. Now if I keep, now in this case the first vector is b vector. So in order to find the direction, what I have to do, I have to keep my fingers of the right hand along the vector b first, and now curl my fingers towards a. So I have to keep my fingers along vector b and curl my fingers towards a. So the direction of the thumb, so basically the thumb is pointing towards inside of the board, right? The thumb is pointing towards it. So if n cap was direction coming out, minus n cap will be direction going inwards. Okay, that is why the unit vector in this case will be minus n cap. Are you getting me? When I'm taking the cross product b cross a, I have to keep my fingers towards b and then curl them towards a, which means the thumb will point towards inside. So if I took n cap as a unit vector coming out, therefore minus n cap will be the unit vector going inside. Therefore this will become minus a cross b. Okay, so always remember b cross a is not equal to a cross b. In magnitude they will be similar. But vectorially they are not similar because we have a minus sign here. Okay, so vectorially they are in opposite directions. Okay, so that is why we have a minus sign. If we compare the magnitude, we can say like this: mod of a cross b is equal to mod of b cross a. Magnitude wise they will be equal because magnitude in this case is ba sin theta and in this case is also ab sin theta. But vectorially, if we say, we cannot equate them directly as a vector. Vectorially if you want to write, then we write like this: b cross a is equal to minus a cross b. Okay, so this was one thing. Then some geometrical applications. Okay, some geometrical applications. First of all, we take a triangle like this. This is vector a and this is vector b. Okay, if I form a parallelogram like this, okay, form a triangle. This is o, this is a, and this is b. Okay, so magnitude of a cross b, if I want to write, magnitude of a cross b will be what? Product of a into b and then sin theta. Okay, so because we are only interested in the magnitude, therefore I will not write n cap here because magnitude of n cap is anyways 1, right? So ab sin theta, I can write this as 2 into half ab into sin theta, right? 2 into half ab into sin theta. So 2 will be outside and half ab sin theta. If theta is the angle between these two vectors, half ab sin theta we know is the area of a triangle, because in solution of triangles we have studied that if we know the lengths of two sides of a triangle and we know the angle between them, then the area of triangle is given by half ab sin theta. Okay, so 2 times area of triangle OAB. Okay, so which means from this result we can say that area of triangle OAB is equal to half to mod of a cross b. Okay, so whenever we are given two adjacent vectors for a triangle, and in order to find the area of the triangle, what we have to do, we have to take the cross product, take the magnitude of that cross product and divide that by 2. This gives us the area of that triangle. Okay, now another application. If suppose we have a parallelogram like this. Okay, we have a parallelogram A, B, C, D. Okay, we have one vector is this vector. Say AC vector is A vector, AC vector is A vector, and BD vector is B vector. Okay, AC vector is A vector and BD vector is B vector. So parallelograms like this. Okay, this is P vector. So area of parallelogram if I want to find. So what I will do here, I can write area of parallelogram. Area of parallelogram. This is in 4 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I will do, I will write the area for one triangle and then multiply by 4. So 4 into half, and area of one triangle we can say is PA cross PB. Okay. You can write like this. We have 4 triangles like this. So in order to find the area of the complete parallelogram, I'll just find the area of one triangle and multiply that by 4. So 4 into half, PA cross PB. Okay. Now we know that in parallelogram diagonals bisect each other. Okay. So this part will be equal to this part and this part will be equal to this part. Okay. So what we can say, 4 into half, so this becomes 2. And then PA vector we can write as CA vector divided by 2 cross PB vector we can write as DB vector divided by 2, right? Because this is just half of this. Okay, so PA vector I can write as CA vector divided by 2, and similarly PB vector is also half of this, so I can write as DB vector divided by 2. So 2 by 4, so this will become half, and CA vector, AC vector is A, so CA vector is minus A, so minus A cross BD vector is B, therefore DB vector is minus B. So minus A cross minus B. Minus minus will become plus. So which means we have the area of the parallelogram as half of A cross B. Okay, we have the area of parallelogram as half of A cross B. So this also is an important application, that when we have the vectors representing the diagonals of a parallelogram, then how do you calculate the area? So we take the square cross product of the diagonals, take the magnitude, and then divide by 2. Okay, so this is one thing. Then for a quadrilateral, if suppose I have a quadrilateral whose diagonals are given to me. Okay, so this is a quadrilateral A, B, C and D. Okay, this is a quadrilateral A, B, C and D. So area of quadrilateral A, B, C, D. Okay, suppose this I take like this. So what I will do here, I will add the areas of these two triangles. Okay, for this triangle the area will be half AB vector cross AC vector, half AB vector cross AC vector, and then plus this, plus half AC vector cross AD vector, right? To find the area, so half AB cross AC, and then plus for this triangle half AC cross AD, right? Now this expression, if I want to reverse the order, if I want to write AC vector first and AB vector after that, so I will put a minus sign, because we know that when we change the order, when we are taking cross product, we have to adjust it with the minus sign. So minus half AC cross AB plus half AC cross AD. Now what you do, you take half AC vector common. If you take half AC vector common, in this case half AC vector common, sorry, plus will come here, so plus will come, sorry, half AC vector common cross AD vector will be here and minus AB vector, right? Half AC vector, if you take common cross AD vector will be here and minus AB vector. So AD vector is this vector and minus AB vector. So if we are subtracting AD vector minus AB vector, we will get BD vector. Okay, so how you will write half AC cross BD, half into AC cross BD. So this is how you get the area of a quadrilateral, of a random quadrilateral. Like we have a random quadrilateral A, B, C, D, and we know the vectors for the diagonal. So one vector is AC vector and one vector is BD vector. So what you will do, this is like similar to a parallelogram. What we will do, we will take the cross product of the diagonals, take the modulus, and then divide by 2. Okay, so this is also important. And the last topic for this for this video today is when we know the position vectors of vertices of a triangle. Okay, so this is the triangle that we have. We have a triangle A, B, C. Okay, the position vector for this is A vector, position vector of B is B vector, and position vector of C is C vector. So now in order to find the area of this triangle, we will do half of AB vector cross AC vector. Right, we know this formula. You take the cross product of the adjacent sides, take the mod and divide by 2. So half AB cross AC. Okay, so half mod of, how do you write AB vector? So for writing AB vector, we subtract the position vector of B minus position vector of A. So B vector minus A vector, and then cross. For AC vector, we subtract the position vector of C and then minus position vector of A. So C minus A. Okay, so and now what you do, you take the cross product term by term. So in order to take the cross product term by term, B cross C, so B cross C will come here, B cross C, then minus A cross C. So minus A cross C, if I want to interchange the terms, I will write plus C cross A. Okay, minus A cross C, if I want to interchange the terms, I will write plus C cross A because minus sign will be adjusted. Then we will get minus B cross A. If I multiply this and this, minus B cross A. So in order to adjust that, I will get plus A cross B, plus A cross B, and then minus A cross minus A. So if I multiply minus A cross minus A, it becomes A cross A, and A cross A, if I want to write A cross A, I will write A into sine of 0, right, into n cap. So A cross A is A into sine of 0 because these, I am taking the cross product of same vectors, so the angle between them is obviously 0. When I am taking the cross product of parallel vectors of same vector, the angle between them is 0. So I will put the expression sine 0, and sine 0 we already know is 0, right? So always remember, when you are taking cross product of same vectors or cross product of parallel vectors, the result is 0 vector. So which means A cross A will come out to be 0. So we are left with this as the final expression for area. Okay, so this is also an important formula. When we know the position vectors of the three vertices of a triangle, in order to find the area, what we do, we take the cross product of every two of the three vertices. So B cross C, then C cross A, and then A cross B in cyclic order. Okay, so if you are taking like this, B cross C, then C cross A, and A cross B, take the sum of that, sum of all three, then take the mod of that, which means take the magnitude of that and then divide by 2. So this will give you the area of triangle ABC. Okay, so this was what I wanted to cover in this video, which is vectors 3, and we'll be taking questions in the upcoming Zoom lectures. Okay, and then in 1 or 2 days time, I'll also upload the fourth video for this chapter. Okay, so for now, thanks for listening.